Here's another anti-retirement
I know
video.
politicians are telling you you can retire at 60, but let me tell you, the economics are clear. We need to be working into our 70s. The idea of retiring at 60 is fine if you're going to die at 70. But the truth is...
What the fuck do you mean? No, it's not. What? How much money does this fucking freak make? Hold on. Linda Grattan. Let's see what she does. A British organizational theorist, consultant, and professor of management practice at London Business School. Oh my God. Oh my God. She's a fucking scouser who betrayed her earlier ways. What is this? She's from Liverpool too. Fucking. Neoliberalism robs you of your soul. I swear to God. This argument I don't think works in America because the American dream quite literally is retiring at the age of 30, retiring at the age of 40. That is literally what the American dream is all about. Being able to like fucking fuck off and make fuck you money early on, get the bag. The entrepreneur mindset is quite literally this. So that's precisely the reason why I don't think Americans look at this and go, no, actually, I do want a fucking a life of endless work. Linda Grattan. Redesigning work. How to transform your organization and make hybrid work for everyone. Future of work thought leader, writer, speaker, influencer. Hello, I'm Professor Linda Grattan, as well as an award-winning thought leader, writer, and speaker. I'm the founder of the global research advisory practice, HSM Advisory. Very nice. I've been retired for 8 years, and here's the truth. Save your money, invest as much as possible, and retire as soon as you can. We were not made to work like mules until we die. There are so many things people can do besides work, just my 2 cents. Yes. My retirement account has gone down 13.7% the past year due to rebalancing. I did it out of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What are the best alternatives to take in order to secure a financially free retirement? People just want freedom in their retirement. They want to be able to pursue dignified things. They want to be able to keep themselves busy. Okay? That's the whole point. The issues with retirement is not due to the retirement age being too fucking early. It is that you don't have meaningful pursuits post-retirement because we've been wired into being fucking serfs. That's the problem. We've been wired into thinking that we're peasants, okay? That we have to work for a life of dignity. There is so much more to be had, to be experienced in the fucking world other than your output at the widget factory. Jesus Christ, dude. And it's always asshole economists who chirp like this. It's like, yeah, obviously your job is a little bit more meaningful than most of the fucking workforce. I hate this. This is why I hate the World Economic Forum, by the way, because this isn't socialism. This is the exact opposite. This is capitalism. This is neoliberal capitalism in display. Oh. Even India is seeing some of this opinion with Narayan Murthy, who is the father-in-law of UK PM Rishi Sunak and is the founder of Infosys, one of the largest conglomerates in India. He literally stated that the youth of India should work 70 hours a week. Insane. Yeah, because they are desperately trying to squeeze what remains for the fractions that will give you additional profit margins. That's it. As technology improves, as sectors streamline, as there is more efficiency, you need less workers for the same output. But that also creates a real tricky problem. The rate of profit tends to decline in that circumstance. And when the rate of profit declines, well, then you have to do imperialism to keep people servile and low so that you can continue exploiting them further. But, you know, progress is still inevitable on that front due to technological achievements, even if they arrive later, right? And those technological achievements can be your liberators or they can further enslave you. Under capitalism, all matter of technological advancement is seen as a mechanism to enslave you further, even if it makes your life in other avenues a little bit easier. Yes, it can be your wings or your ball and chain. Now, the problem is we do not have any way of seeing it. And this is a genuine problem for the future because as we develop further and further, as medicine improves, as people survive and live to the age of 100, okay, as we survive and live to the age of 100, you now have a real problem with like people who are just not contributing to the output, people who are not simply working at the widget factory. Okay, when you're 70, you can't work at the widget factory anymore. What the fuck are we supposed to do? Now, either we change our entire way, either we rewire the way that our economy is organized, which we won't do because too many people make money the way that the economy is organized currently, or we try to find different ways of continuing to put older people back into the fucking workforce. And we'll sell you a lie while we advocate for such things like, oh, this is good for your brain. God forbid you look at the situation and you go, we should find ways of improving retirement that people can find dignity in pursuit of passions that they literally did not have time to pursue, that people can continue working their brains in meaningful ways in the way that they would when they were working. Nope. That would require profits to plummet. We can't do that. Get back to fucking work, I say. Awesome. Awesome. It's great stuff.
Most of us aren't. Every single decade, we live longer. So the thought that you...
Isn't that crazy? Like modern medicine has made our lives, modern medicine has improved our lives dramatically. And we still find a way to fuck that up.
So the thought that you might live to 100 is a possibility. And so the idea of retiring in your 60s, I think, is entirely outmoded. We need to think about working right the way through our life. But of course, to do that, we have to change the way we think about our whole life. I'm Linda Grattan. I'm Professor of Management Practice at the London Business School and founder of HSM Advisory. I'm the author of...
This is the most nefarious type of propaganda because, like, she's presenting working as a positive and saying, like, we should simply rewire the way we understand work. That's not going to happen for 99% of the fucking workforce.
Of redesigning work and the 100-year life. I've been writing about the future of work for more than 20 years. And frankly, I was beginning to get pretty frustrated. I wrote about how the world was going to change, and I was sort of surprised it didn't change because actually the forces against change are pretty strong. People were saying, well, we still need to come into the office. I know there's a long commute, but it's really important. You can retire when you're 60, that's going to be okay. I knew that wasn't going to work, but I really couldn't see the forces that were going to change that. the pandemic was an astonishing event. Suddenly, 50% of workers could work from home. So what that did was to upend many of the traditions we had about work. For example, if you take a look at a typical life that your dad had or that my dad had in the 40s and 50s, it followed 3 stages, which everybody did, by the way, at the same time. Full-time education, full-time work, full-time retirement. You don't really have to have a great deal of self-insight. All you have to do is to look around, left and right, and ask yourself, what's everybody else doing at my age? Because age equals stage. But that's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for you, and it's certainly not going to work for our children. Think about the way that the world is changing. It's changing in the sense that we're living longer. So that means that simply retiring at 60 or 55 just...
Dude, this is the, are you ready for the New World Order shit? I swear to God. You will own nothing and be happy. This is literally like, you will keep working because work sets you free. That's what this is.
Just isn't going to work.
Eat the bug.
It's changing in the sense that there are huge technological changes coming up almost on a daily basis.
Funny enough, if you raise the retirement age, life expectancy would probably drop as a consequence of it. Yeah, literally.
For example, generative AI is a thing that we're all looking at now. Why are we so excited and frightened of that? Well, it replaces knowledge work. In fact, there's an argument that it might even replace the creative tasks that we do. So technology requires us to upskill and reskill every year of our life. And it's changing in the sense that the family structures that we have are also becoming much more individual. So if we're going to have different ways of living, different family structures, we need to redesign work. So here's what I think is going to happen.
Finally, please.
We're going to start doing what I would call a multi-stage life. It's the idea that you can do all sorts of different things at all sorts of stages. So, for example, education suddenly becomes something you do right the way through your life. It becomes a lifetime of learning. Work becomes something that you dip in and out of. Rather than starting in a company when you're 20 years old and just going straight through, you could work part-time, you could freelance, you could take time off. And retirement also moves back, and it takes...
This is so funny. Consulting. I like the very necessary labor of consulting. Okay? She's like, come on, everyone will be a consultant at one stage of their lives. It's like, yo, are you fucking dumb as hell? We need nurses. We need plumbers, lady. That's like, you're so stupid. Like, we're talking about the broadest sectors in the Western world. It's literally socially necessary labor, not socially unnecessary labor like consulting or Twitch streaming. It would be like, it blows my mind how fucking out of touch these people are. Because, like, people that listen to this shit come in here and yell at me all the goddamn time, not realizing that, like, I've never made an argument, for example, I've never made an argument that, like, what I'm doing is, like, socially necessary labor, okay? It's not. There's utility in it, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's so fucking stupid.
It takes time. The point that I want to make...
She's literally seeing, like, she's basically doing the elevated version of, like, start a drop shipping company. And then once you have a drop shipping company, start consulting others to start drop shipping companies. Okay, what happens when everyone's doing that? Who's buying the drop shipping company shit? This is literally like a multi-level marketing scheme maxed out, base boosted.
It's very hard to work until you're 70 in one long, never-ending streak. You have to break that up. And so you can make a life that works for you, not the life that worked for your dad.
This also presents gig economy work, part-time work as a good thing when it's not, because gig economy work and part-time work, which is increasingly becoming the norm in the Western world, unironically withers away labor protections. So you're fucking broken. It's unstable, dude. They're presenting this as though it's beneficial. It is beneficial for capital owners. It is infinitely more beneficial for your bosses to ensure that you stay contracted employees rather than full-time employees, because you have no fucking security in that situation.
Or for your mom. The life that works for you. Now, what's exciting about a multi-stage life, but also, frankly, makes it more difficult, is that each of us lives our multi-stage life in the way we want to do it. So it could be that at the age of 30, you decide to take time off for a year and travel the world. But as you look around, there's not that many other people.
Who's able to do that? Who's she talking about? Who's got the money? I don't get it. I don't understand. Just have rich parents, and you will be able to take time out and travel the world.
Who are going to be doing the same thing. You have to have more of a sense of yourself. The truth is, the 3-stage life is relatively easy. You don't need to think very much about it. You can just get on and do it the same way as all your peers do. Multi-stage life.
Shit like this makes me realize that if I was like an out of touch prosperity gospel type influencer, I would live a much more comfortable life. Like, nobody would chirp at me. All of you in this community would be chirping at me from afar, but I wouldn't hear it over the massive loud sounds of admiration from the dummies. Okay, going, no, he's so, look, see, Hasan is a beacon of being a guy who came here at the age of 18 and made something of himself. And he's actually preaching to everyone how they can also fulfill their own destiny in a similar light. You guys are just lazy socialists. I'm realizing, like, I really, really, really fucked up. I should have just value-tained motherfuckers, like, nonstop. Yeah. This kind of stuff goes along with the interests of capital owners, so it's presented as a good argument. Straight up.
Life. The ask is that you do something that perhaps nobody else in your peer group has done. You become, in other words, a social enterprise. You actually do your own thing, and that takes courage. The sort of questions that you want to ask yourself is, what's important to me? What is it that I want to get out of my life? How do I want to live my life? So there's big questions you need to ask yourself now in order to make the most of the trends that shape our work.
You just ignore your admiration in here and read all the hate start. No, I'm talking about like all the people who chirp at me and say I'm a fucking hypocrite grifter or whatever the fuck. They lap up this kind of propaganda, and there's, unfortunately for all of us, the reality is, and that's a much larger crowd. Okay,
let's ditch the idea of retirement. Let's all work as long as we can and make work fun, exciting, and a learning.
I love that her argument for making work more fun was resort to the gig economy, become a part-time worker, and just travel. Okay, where do we make the money? Like, where are these gigs that are facilitating this lifestyle that you're presenting as an alternative? That makes no dang sense. Anyway, great stuff from Ben Shabibo. And then also this lady. Perhaps it should call into question why this kind of thinking transcends boundaries and the aesthetics that people actually focus on. Like, that lady looks like she would be a liberal in America, right? Ben Shapiro is very much a right-wing reactionary. Obviously, she probably is a Tory, let's be real. But Why is it that they align so perfectly on the raising the retirement age? Macron is supposed to be a liberal, right? Why is he also trying to raise the retirement age? Why is it that politicians are always trying to raise the retirement age instead of making retirement livable, survivable? Interesting. I feel like certain things transcend political lines that we think are actually well established ideological boundaries, when in fact the real ideological predisposition there is pro capitalism. So it doesn't really matter what you present yourself as, whether you like gay people or think they should die. Ultimately, you think gay, straight, doesn't matter. The retirement age must go up. Much to consider here. Anyway,